25 minutes before 9 here on the program. Advocacy Group Section 27 says it will seek further advice following yesterday's court decision in the Michael Komape case. Some sections in the application to appeal a previous ruling were denied and only one was granted. In April, the judge in the matter had dismissed a claim for general and constitutional damages for the death of 5-year-old Komape, who drowned in a pit toilet at his school outside Polokwane 4 years ago. To discuss this matter, let's have a conversation with Shanice Linderboom, who is an attorney at Section 27. Shanice, thank you. Thanks for your time.
Good morning, Ian.
How do you feel, and I suppose more importantly, how did the family feel after this outcome?
I think also just a point of correction, everything was granted except the one claim, which was Claim A.
Okay, which was?
Which was for the general damages for shock, emotional shock and trauma. We were with the family on Friday for the hearing of the application for leave to appeal. They are okay. I mean, this has been a lengthy process and it's going to be going on for some time. I think we are pleased that, ideally we would have hoped that our full application for leave to appeal would have been granted.
Yeah.
But like I say, everything but Claim A was granted.
Okay, so this Claim A was, if I'm not mistaken, 940,000 Rand
yes.
for trauma and for emotional damages, shock. This was declined.
Yes.
Where to from here? What are you going to do?
So the plan is, like we said, we are in consultation with our senior counsel on the matter, but it seems like we have got some consensus in that we will be making a direct application to the SCA for Claim A specifically.
Okay.
We will make it in together with our notice of appeal in respect of the other claims that were granted, and hopefully it can all be heard together.
Can you talk us through the other claims as well? I mean, there were 5 claims initially, so the 4 that were granted, let's go through them.
So Claim B was for an amount of 2 million Rand, and it was for grief.
Yeah.
We were asking the courts to develop the common law. We knew that this was pushing the bounds a little bit, but we were hopeful in that, just considering the facts of this case, that there were grounds for the court to look into the development of the common law for awarding grief to the family. In this particular instance, in the alternative, what we asked for was constitutional damages in the amount of 2 million. And here what we're saying is that the state is under a constitutional obligation to provide safe and adequate sanitation for the learners, and that they had failed in these constitutional obligations. Claim C was for the counselling for the younger children. They've got 3 younger children, a set of twins, and then a young boy.
Yeah.
So we're asking for counselling for that. And then we had also asked for a declaratory order, which basically is just to say that there were constitutional rights that were violated, and that to declare, well, the declaratory order would then seek to show that and state that show that the right to safe and adequate sanitation forms part of the right to basic education.
Yeah, but if we go back to the siblings, the younger siblings, be paid 6,000 Rand each. I mean, do you think this is enough for the medical expenses there?
In our in our application, we had asked for 8,000 for the twins, for each twin,
yeah,
and then 10,000 for the youngest. So what was granted was 6,000 for each twin, and nothing for the youngest of that 10,000. It wasn't. That's not a large amount that we were asking for counselling services. It was at 1,000 Rand a session, and so it was 8 sessions and 10 sessions. So we didn't feel that was unreasonable in the amount that we were asking. So we weren't very pleased that nothing was even given to the youngest,
yeah,
of that 10,000. Yeah.
Okay. So what we've gathered from you is the family are willing to take advice and from you, and whatever you decide, they're happy to proceed. And this is particularly with appealing for the one claim, Claim A. It's common practice for courts, however, to use the same judge. Do you think you stand a chance with the same judge hearing the appeal?
Well, in this particular case, the application for leave to appeal goes directly to the same judge. We have to ask the judge that gave the order whether he will let us go to a different court. So that's what we did here. And in this case, this is the outcome. He granted leave to appeal on some aspects, but not on others. What happens now is we go to the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein. It's a different court before different judges, and we're hoping that it will lead to a different outcome.
All right, so this goes to the Supreme Court of Appeal now. There's a bigger story here, and I know we are focusing on Komape in particular because this is his case, but the issue of pit toilets, the fact that they are still being used and children are still dying by using them. I mean, this fight is bigger than that, isn't it?
100%, and I think that's why we could understand the judge's reasoning in that he ordered a structural order, which is not something that we had asked for. We understand that this case is more than more than just about Michael.
Absolutely.
I mean, obviously we want to get some closure for the family, some compensation for the family, which they're entitled to. But it's about more than Michael. It's about the learners of Limpopo, and I think the structural order that the judge put in place was to try and vindicate those rights of learners that are having to still go to toilets, to pit toilets, and having to deal with that. I mean, obviously there was also the president's notice about, you know, a broader sanitation audit that needed to be done, and the minister is working on that. So it's definitely a big issue, not only in Limpopo but all over the country.
Yeah. How are the family coping? Because I mean, I'm reading that the family recently claimed that the local community of Chibeng village outside Polokwane, where they reside, have in a way turned against them.
Yeah, it has been very difficult, and I think even in the media, just how they have been portrayed. I mean, obviously there's a lot of support for the family, but then you will get those few that are saying, why must they get 3 million? That 3 million can be used to help several other people. So it's very difficult for the family, and they have dealt with a lot of backlash. But they are committed to this cause. They understand why they sought out to seek justice for Michael, and they continue to do it. And I mean, even Mr. Komape and the family in generally, they're building, or they're working on getting a library in Michael's name set up in the community. It's just to show that they've experienced a loss, but they're trying to make the best of this and to leave something in his memory.
Yeah, so it's a difficult time for them. I mean, I suppose it's difficult to talk about their future and whether or not they're actually going to stay on where they live or move and go somewhere else. Have they discussed that with you?
Well, I mean, the initial settlement, there was a settlement towards the end of 2017, which was just over 137. And I think that has seen some improvements for the family, but I think they're comfortable where they are. I think they're happy in that community. I mean, obviously they're going to deal with people who don't always agree with them, but that's their home, and I think they're looking to stay, and they want to make the community better.
Ever since this ruling, and let's sort of start wrapping it up, but we keep alluding to the fact that this is a bigger issue than just one family. It's a great loss, but it stands for a much bigger cause. In Limpopo, have you seen any improvements? Basic Education obviously saying that, yes, we're going to take on the task for the structural reform of sanitation in the schools. Has anything happened? Ever since this event, has anything happened? No.
Well, I mean, the toilets at Michael's schools was demolished the day after the incident happened.
That's just that school.
Yes.
Because the highlight is on them. But anywhere else, has there been an improvement?
Look, they were prompted into action, but it wasn't followed through, because we know of a number of schools who have these enviroloos that have been put up. The pit toilets are still there, but the enviroloos have just been constructed. They're not really maintained. Some of them are sort of half built. So it was like, following the incident, they were prompted into some action, but we don't feel that it was properly carried through. There's also issues about service providers not coming through and delivering. They're not getting paid, so they're not completing the tasks that they've been asked to do. So there's been some, but it hasn't been consistently followed through.
All right, we leave it there. Thank you very, very much for talking to us here on the program. Of course, this incident happened a few years ago, and that judgment being handed down, but there's still an appeal in the pipeline. So this now heads off to the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein. So we'll continue to follow the story, but more importantly, the issue of pit toilets still being used in the country in different provinces and different schools. Thanks very, very much for talking to us here on the program. Of course, representing Section 27, Shanice Lindeboom, who is an attorney.